Here we go. Precious Achiuwa, is he returning to the Miami Heat? Well, there is a report out there that the Heat have been in contact and actually actively discussing a potential reunion with the former Heat first-round pick. Achiuwa obviously drafted 20th overall in the 2020 NBA draft, the infamous selection, one spot ahead of where Tyrese Maxey went. But this is something that I have been very interested in, and we'll talk all about it on today's show. I am Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. But Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel had the report, as he reported on Monday morning, that he have been in ongoing discussions with Achiuwa about a possible spot in the team's power rotation, which obviously is very limited at center. And we've made a couple videos about Achiuwa. There was a video, I think, on August 1st that was talking about a report that Miami could be interested in signing Achiuwa, and also linked to signing Precious by, I think it was Brett Siegel. And we also talked about signing Precious when there was a report out there from 5 Reasons Sports Network that Miami was actively searching free agency and trade market for another big man. We've talked about it ad nauseum in terms of the Heat center rotation. We'll even talk a little bit about it more here in a second. But before we get into that, make sure you do subscribe, because if the Heat do sign Precious or make any roster move, we will have you covered. Hit that sub button. Let's get to 24,500 on today's show. Be great to see this Heat Report family grow some more. But when you look at the Heat roster, something just stands out right away, and it's the lack of depth at big man. I mean, maybe Ware just comes off the bench this year for Miami, and the Heat started Nikola Jovic at the 4 with Wiggins at the 3 and Bam at the 5. Because as it's currently standing, it just doesn't make sense to have both of them start. It would be a more well-balanced bench, is more of a well-balanced rotation if you brought one or Bam off of the bench. Now, that can obviously be fixed and kind of corrected if you find a good, serviceable third big man that is your first big off of the bench. And maybe that could be Precious Achiuwa. We just simply have no depth in the front court. The only depth we have is, well, Nikola Jovic, but he's not a center. And sure, you could find a way to have a rotation to where one of Bam or Ware are consistently on the floor, and you go small ball 4 with Wiggins, or you have Jovic as that 4 there. But the point remains, what if Kel'el, Ware, or Bam Adebayo gets banged up, and they miss 4 or 5 games? They miss 2 weeks with an injury. Well, then who are you playing at center? You trusting two-way big man Vlad Golden? I certainly won't want to do that when we're in December and January. So bringing in a player like Precious Achiuwa makes a ton of sense for me. But there is an issue with potentially signing Precious. The Heat can't sign him unless they're willing to go into the luxury tax. Signing him to a vet min would put them just barely over the tax. Now, we know for an absolute certainty that Miami will not want to be in the luxury tax by the year's end, which is when they'd have to be in the tax to be penalized. They could sign Precious now and then make another move in the season, like around the trade deadline or in January, to where they get back underneath the luxury tax. And the best way to make the signing now without crossing the luxury tax is actually to make a roster move prior to signing Precious Achiuwa, that being cutting Terry Rozier. We made a video about it a couple weeks ago. Rozier has a contract worth $26.6 million, but only $24.9 million of it is guaranteed. The guaranteed date, by the way, to where it becomes fully guaranteed is January 1st. So if you cut Rozier between now and December 31st, you would actually save $1.7 million, which would give you $3.4 million in space of the luxury tax, which would allow you to sign Precious Achiuwa and stay underneath the luxury tax. And Barry Jackson reporting kind of on top of what Ira Winderman did today, saying that the Rozier scenario has been discussed a lot internally. They've also talked about a potential buyout, but Rozier would have to agree to that, and there is no team that would even think about signing Rozier in the NBA right now due to the FBI investigation, so there's no world where Rozier agrees to a buyout until that is cleared up. And the flip side is Barry notes here, is that you might want to keep that Rozier contract and potentially helping you facilitate a trade, because he does have a very large contract that could help you if a star player asks out. But the question is that going to happen? Make the call, though. Pin comment on today's show. Should Miami cut Terry Rozier, save the $1.7 million, and sign Precious Achiuwa? Type Y for yes or type N for no. If I was the GM, if I was Pat Riley, I would. I doubt that a player that would be a 50 million type year guy comes available at the deadline that he could trade for. Like, could one become available? Oh, absolutely. But is Miami going to be able to make that trade with their assets and draft capital? I mean, they haven't done it over the last 4 years, so what makes me think that's going to change now? I am not keeping Terry Rozier just for the pipe dream of that coming down the line. And you still have solid contracts as well if you want to trade. Wiggins at 28. You could trade other players as well to get to a $50 million contract, like a Simone Fontecchio. Like, I'm not being moved over Rozier's $26 million contract. So to me, if the Heat were serious about upgrading this roster, yeah, I'm waiving/cutting Rozier. The question is, are they willing to pay a player that much money to not play for their team? Now, you could wait till December to sign a big man because when you wait that long into the season, the cap hit becomes a little bit lessened. So you could sign a Precious Achiuwa in early December and stay underneath the luxury tax. But the question is, should the Heat wait that long? That's a full month and a half of the season. You got the last week of October, all of November, and the first week or two of December before that big man could be signed to stay underneath the tax, but also start to make an impact for you. That's a lot of games. It's a big chunk of the season. Are you willing to wait that long with no third center? I don't know. Now, if you're talking about the free agent bigs Miami could sign, here are the top 5. Precious Achiuwa, Kai Jones, Thomas Bryant, Bol, and Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles signed with, was it Real Madrid? Yeah, and I would bet he has an NBA buyout or opt-out to where he could go back to the NBA if a team comes calling. But the point remains. I think Precious Achiuwa is, without a question, the best big man on this list. And I've said that in the past. Like, there just really isn't any good free agent options. I know Al Horford's a free agent, but if you think he would sign with Miami, you're sadly mistaken. He already has a handshaking deal with the Golden State Warriors. They're just waiting to get clarity on the Jonathan Kuminga situation. Actually, a handful of free agents have handwritten deals or handshaking deals with them. I believe it is Gary Payton, Al Horford, and DeAnthony Melton. Those 3 all basically are Warriors. Once Kuminga gets cleared up, those 3 will sign basically instantly. But when you're talking about Precious Achiuwa, a player that obviously has familiarity in Miami's system, drafted with that 20th pick in 2020, played 61 games as a rookie, didn't really showcase that much, which is why he was put in the sign-in trade alongside oh my God, Goran Dragic. I can't believe I spaced on that for a second. In the Kyle Lowry sign and trade deal. He had some nice moments for Miami in that rookie season, but nothing over the top. He struggled defensively. He didn't have the best hand-eye coordination, really struggled in the pick and roll to handle the ball in traffic. So there was a lot of deficiencies with Achiuwa, which is why Miami was willing to move off of him to get a guy like Kyle Lowry. But with the Heat roster is where it is now, and Achiuwa is the best free agent, it makes sense for a potential reunion. More coming up in a second, but Miami Heat shirts on sale when you go to chatsports.com/Heat shirts. You can get the practice t-shirts from this year. You can get long sleeve warm-ups for this upcoming year as well. You can get some retro t-shirts that look good when you're just out in public hanging out. It doesn't really matter. They've got a bunch of different styles, of different sizes. Some are on sale for 50% off. Some are full price. Either way, grab your shirts today before the season gets rolling in a month. Chatsports.com/Heat shirts. Links in the description and comments of today's video. You look at what Achiuwa has done over the past 2 seasons for the Knicks and Raptors. He was traded from Toronto to New York in the OG Anunoby trade, and he has been serviceable for New York as their third big man. Actually was their backup to Mitchell Robinson in 23-24, but in 24-25 was that third big in rotation. When Mitch, Rob, and Karl-Anthony Towns were both healthy, was the second center when one of them missed time. And I'm not going to act like he is some major impact guy. No, he at this point in his career is a third center. He has proven that he's not much better than that, but he's an aggressive rebounder, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA statistically, and given a opportunity with Miami, would probably be able to carve out a nice role as that third big and 9th or 10th man on this Heat bench. Now, I will also go back to this cat here in Kai Jones. Like, I think Achiuwa is the best option, but if the Heat wanted to go somewhere else, Jones is an intriguing guy, a former first-round pick, just like Precious Achiuwa. He worked out for Miami, was in the 305 for 3 consecutive days about 3 weeks to a month ago. Miami ultimately did not sign him, but maybe they could spin the block and bring Kai Jones in. Kai played pretty well last season across his 40 games, playing in LA and Dallas for the final 12. And with the Mavericks in the final 12 games of the year after being waived by the Clippers, he was phenomenal. Averaged 11 points per game, 6 boards, shot 83% from the field while playing 21 minutes a night. He was significantly better for Dallas than LA. He's got excellent bounce. He is an uber athletic big man that can play the dunker's position really well. The point is this, and I hate to beat a dead horse here, but just bring me another big man. It's so clear and obvious that the Heat's biggest need, if it's not a third star that can lead the Heat over into contention alongside Hero and Bam, is a depth big man. But if we're talking realistic move that can happen between now and the regular season opener on October 22nd, adding another big is that. Now, how they do it, I don't know, but I need one ASAP. So pick a big man for me. If you had to choose one addition to this Heat bench out of the free agents, would it be Precious Achiuwa or Kai Jones? Type PA for Precious, type KJ for Kai Jones. I also will mention 3 sneaky trade targets: Nick Richards, Andre Drummond, and Trayce Jackson-Davis. Richards got 1 year, $5 million left on his deal. He's the 3rd center for Phoenix because he's backing up now Mark Williams and Kaman Malawach, who they drafted 10th overall, and then obviously Mark Williams traded for. Now, it would have been easier to trade like a Haywood Highsmith, 1 year, $5.4 million for Nick Richards. Obviously, they can't trade Haywood Highsmith again. Andre Drummond, 1 year, $5 million left on his deal. Trayce Jackson-Davis kind of getting phased out of Golden State. They're going to be bringing in Al Horford. They have Draymond Green. They really like Quentin Post, so maybe he could be an option as well. All 3 of these guys, super cheap, wouldn't cost a lot to acquire. Maybe you could swap contracts. Maybe you add one of your second-round picks that you can trade. Point is, there are other options out there. Not big names, but just serviceable second and third bigs that you could have on this bench. And if the Heat do make a move, we will have you covered, so subscribe today. As always, we have daily content here at the channel, so make sure you are subscribed. And if you are still watching and aren't subbed, what are you waiting for? Join the channel, and appreciate you guys. Go Heat.